I ran into this video earlier today and, kind of got up underneath the old keister and really felt that I needed to put out some actual facts here and some things to think about when you see this kind of crap. I've often told my friend several times who believes that he can run around with a vehicle without, a license and a tag and insurance because he's got freedom of travel, which is false, okay? That has nothing to do with it. And this right here, I just want to point some things out, okay? So let's jump into it. It's the warehouse worker that passed while he was at work, died while he was at work, okay?
Please listen. This story is going to be upsetting, but it is emblematic of what it is like to be a working class person living, working in the United States of America under the thumb of the Epstein class.
All right, let's start with this first, okay? We have gotten very spoiled being in America. We really have, okay? We rode through a revolution of being in a fantastic economy really in the 80s. Everything was cheap, pay was high in comparison, and currently, thanks to our government, and I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, they are both equally 100% to blame for this fiasco that we are currently in, okay? You are hired to work. You show up on time, you work your butt off, that's why it's called work, and then you go home. Period. It wasn't meant for you to be there checking your phone every 10 minutes, getting a break every 15 minutes, being in a situation where it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to work that hard. It's work, okay? Work is work. I don't care if it is the 1900s or it is 2026. Except for very few times in our economy, trying to make it has always been difficult. There has always never been enough money in the bank account at the end of the month. That is the way it's always been. It is the way it is always going to be. Are there some companies that are corporate, strategists who F people? Oh yeah, absolutely. Trucking industry is one of them. Repossession industry is another one of them. Just companies who go out of their way to make sure there's more corporate profit at the end of the year than taking care of people. There's no doubt, okay? But you need to work, and they're not going to pay you $100,000 a year for a product that they're putting out the door or a service that they're putting out the door, and they are only able to collect so much money, okay? And this Epstein thing has really gotten absolutely stupid silly already. I understand that, there illegal stuff was going on, unsavory stuff is going on, but this isn't the only guy in the world who's done this kind of crap, and is not the only type of person who's a criminal. Matter of fact, most of the people in our government are a bunch of frickin' criminals, period. Exclamation mark. Democrat or Republican, they are all criminals. They're only there for themselves. They could care less about us, period. Oh, I get so worked up. Man. Anyways, let's move on with this here.
Last week, an Amazon worker died on the job in a warehouse in Troutdale, Oregon. That's about 15 minutes away from my house. And as he lay dead on the floor for over an hour, workers were instructed to continue doing their jobs around his body. A worker tried to help him, and a manager said, and I quote, "Just turn around and not look. Let's get back to work." I'm going to be referencing here a piece out in the Western Edge by Ryan Haas. It came out today, April 13th.
All right. Anytime somebody dies, in my opinion, whether it's a human, a dog, a cow, a bird, it's sad. It sucks. But the fact of the matter is that people die every day. Now let me give you a scenario here real quick. You're traveling on down the road. A semi comes on the other side of the highway through the middle of the ditch up onto the other side of the highway, collides with a vehicle. Kills everybody in the vehicle. Are we all supposed to shut down the highway because of this happened? I'm just saying. Are we just supposed to shut down the whole interstate from top to bottom? Think about it. So yes, there's a man laying on the floor dead, okay? There was an attempt, and you'll see this later on, you can tell that this is kind of laid out politically with the stupidity that she says, but somebody's laying on the floor dead. There was an attempt to resuscitate the person. There was an attempt to run one of those heart thumpers on them. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but there was an attempt to get this man revived. As you'll see here too. Now we're taking information from somebody on social media, so this might not all be factual, and it's coming from a newspaper, so it might not all be, it might not be all the facts, okay? But what are you supposed to do? Shut down the whole warehouse because some guy keeled over on the floor? Are you supposed to shut down the whole highway because somebody got killed on it? Let's keep on going.
It's entitled, "Everyone is Replaceable. Death Rattles Oregon Amazon Facility." A worker died at Amazon's Troutdale warehouse. Employees were told to look away. I really recommend that you go read the whole piece. For context, by the way, Oregon is a state that is incredibly friendly to Amazon and other large distributors and other large warehouse holders. Prologis, which is the largest owner of industrial land in the Portland metro area, has these large freight warehouses which they lease to companies like Amazon. And state law and our governor and local officials are all very, very friendly to these giant mega out-of-state corporations that continue to exploit Oregonians and our tax code.
Yes, that is a fact. In very few instances, you actually have a governor, local government, local people that were placed in positions that, yes, kiss the butt of these huge, massive corporations. They're doing something in order to keep people in their area employed. Let's try that again. They're doing something to keep people employed in their area. That's why they kiss the butt of these huge companies. They employ thousands of people. And every company that comes in that they have to give free water to, free electricity to, free taxes to, whatever the case may be, they are employing people. So the government is doing their job, looking after you to make sure that you have a job. It may not be the top end super $100, $200, $300,000 a year job. And those are rare to begin with. Very few people make that kind of money. So let's keep on going here.
On a regular basis. It's not an asset to our state. If you order Amazon packages in the Portland metro area, they probably came through the Troutdale facility. Sam was helping unload trucks when a heavy thud against concrete echoed across the Amazon warehouse.
Whoever wrote this article was really good on being descriptive, okay? I don't know if you've ever been in a warehouse that's got a concrete floor, but if somebody fell over on that floor, you wouldn't hear a big thud. So whoever wrote it here was very descriptive, and it's good. It's good description, boy. Just, to draw out that emotion in you, to get you worked up, okay?
An employee's lifeless body lay on the floor. Work halted in the loading docks on the south side of Amazon's distribution center in Troutdale, Oregon. Sam and other employees stared at the person who'd collapsed just 20 feet away. Conveyor belts of packages continued to roll. I didn't have a direct line of sight to the person's face, but I saw a body form laying lifeless, Sam told the Western Edge. Employees who spoke for this story requested anonymity to protect their jobs, and their names have been changed. The man who collapsed on the floor died Monday, April 6th, on the second level of the Amazon warehouse as machinery filled the cavernous loading dock with a dull hum. In 911 calls obtained through a public records request, one employee called for an ambulance at 1:55 p.m. The dispatcher coached a confused employee over speakerphone on how to use a defibrillator. Meanwhile, during a second call, another employee described a horrific scene. "We have an associate here who I believe is probably dead. This person does have extensive blood coming from the head," he said, "and they are very blue looking." This part right here. For more than an hour, several employees said, workers in the facility were instructed to continue fetching totes, picking items off shelves, and loading them onto trucks for delivery as the man lay dead, and management figured out their next steps. News of the fatality quickly spread through the building, but workers say top managers did not call operations to an immediate halt. A week later, several workers said they still did not know what caused the man to die. He was only 46 years old.
Yeah, so beyond that colorful description there, once again, people die. I graduated high school. By the time I graduated high school, two of my class members already died. They were both car accidents. Let's see here. Probably about 10, 15 years ago, I had three other people who I was friends with and classmates, and they just died. Two of them in their sleep, and one of them at work, just keeled over, dead. It happens. We don't know why. Death is not something that happens to our great-grandparents in their 90s. Children of 3-month-old die. Why? It just happens. It's the way the dice are thrown, the way life is. Call it God wanted it that way. You believe all that stupidity you want. It just happens, okay? So let's keep on going here.
God forbid the death of a worker in a warehouse interfere with the productivity of Amazon and their profit margin. Within moments of the man hitting the floor, Sam said a woman ran over and began performing chest compressions. The woman began to cry and screamed for someone to help her. Sam, who has CPR training, asked her supervisor if she could assist. The supervisor watched the woman heaving her weight into the dead man's chest and gave no response. I started sobbing and said, "I want to help, please. I know she's going to get tired and need to be subbed out." The supervisor, who Sam perceived to be in shock, had a simple reply. "It has to be the management safety team. Please get back to work." "I need to help," Sam said. "Just turn around and not look. Let's get back to work. Sam.
Yeah, so let me jump in right there, okay? Anytime in your life you want to help, go help. Period. F your manager, F anybody else. Get immediately. Don't ask, well, can I go help? I would like to help. I was in a situation one time where I worked for a nut and bolt company, and the barrel, he had just put the barrel up on the third shelf. I was coming with my forklift down, and he came down to the bottom level, and that sucker, for some odd strange reason, the barrel gave out and came back off the shelf again and crowned this guy really good. Didn't kill him, but I didn't radio the manager, hey, should I help? I went over there and got all the bolts off of him, stuff like that, laid them out on the floor, and called in. We had an emergency button on our unit and hit that, and that immediately responded the fire department to show up, and of course they show up with their ambulance. Don't wait, act. If you think you can help, get your butt in there and help. All right? I don't care about protocols and requirements and books and guidelines that employer places. If you feel you can help, get in there and do it. Ask.
I recalled the manager saying. This article in the Western Edge goes on to say that employees said they felt that their bosses were more concerned with keeping packages moving than with an employee dying in front of them. I've struggled to sleep, Sam said. I have a lot of anxiety over walking back into that building. As grim and awful as this story is, I cannot think of a more perfect image of how the billionaires, how the corporations treat and see all of us.
Yeah, also understand too, people react differently, okay? I have been in several times in my life in a situation rolling up on car accidents where cars were flipped over in the ditch and the people were dead. I've worked in my early years on farms and, seen deaths there. People react differently. I jump in and see if I can do something. I go to bed that night and I sleep just fine. But there are some people that, they see a death of an individual and that affects them. It really hits their psyche hard. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just the way that they react. It's the way that they are. Once again, this article is made to pull out, you being upset with Amazon. Yeah, Amazon does a lot of stuff and corporations do a lot of stuff that is, morally corrupt. There ain't no doubt about that. And also remember too what I just said. Semi comes through the center of the road and piles into a vehicle and kills them. We supposed to shut the whole highway down? I don't know. Tell me what you think. That's what that comment section down below is. Let me know what you're thinking. I mean, I am just trying to put the perspective here of being realistic. Do we shut down the whole frickin' highway?
We are not human beings to them. We are cogs in the machine, easily expendable. Our deaths, our trauma don't matter to them at all. Our lives, our well-being cannot interfere with corporate profit and productivity. Amazon warehouses are notoriously dangerous. All of these freight distribution warehouses are notoriously dangerous, but this particular facility has the worst injury rate out of 23 major distribution centers. In 2018, more than a quarter of all workers at the site had to file an OSHA complaint for an injury on the job. According
All right, I've had the opportunity, actually, just recently, this last year, to work, part-time, seasonal worker, okay, peak season worker, where I was delivering packages, okay, UPS once again, if I didn't say that. I've been in the UPS warehouse. I have been part of their truck deliveries. I've been part of their package deliveries during this peak season. And without a doubt, because of my age being 60 years old, I've been through it, okay? I've been through the companies. I've had my own business now. You can tell a crappy company. You don't need to be told. You don't need to be informed. You just sense it that you know, okay? When I started the part-time, seasonal in October, I was the only person left in January that had not get fired, let go, whatever you want to call it, okay? I knew right away when I started doing this, it was a high hustle job, and you did not stop for your lunch breaks. In the first week, I can't tell you how many people kind of disappeared because you heard that they were stealing time from UPS by taking a lunch break. But I catch on to things really quickly. I don't need to be told much. So I knew right away, if I'm driving a vehicle, why do I want to stop for a lunch break? I got 420 packages to deliver. I can eat while I'm driving, okay? Once you get into the city, it's like stop, one right after an hour, another, grab the package, run out the door, go set it on the doorstep, take a picture, run back to the truck, and down the road you go again, But always throughout the day, you would have a period of time where you were headed out to the country to do your country deliveries. Well, that's when you ate there, And I seen a lot of people who weren't there anymore because they would stop at a gas station and go inside and get a coffee or beverage and sandwich or whatever. Dude, you were in this big, huge truck. Or if you're in the warehouse, bring your cooler. Fill it up with the stuff that you want. Boom, it's right there. Consume while you go. I know we're supposed to get a break. But there's some things you got to look at throughout the year, and when you're in peak season, you got to deliver 400 packages. There ain't no time for a break. Let's keep on going here. Oh, yeah, I forgot the other point that I wanted to make. I have been in an Amazon warehouse in a different city here. Very high distribution place. Of course, I've been in the UPS distribution hub where they, separate all the packages that are coming in and put them into the trucks. So I see the packages getting offloaded from the semis. The semis, they put them on this roller system, and then it comes down the roller system, and it gets shot off to this area electronically and shot off to this area electronically, and then it's scanned, and then some of it's put into smaller totes automatically and manually, and then some of it goes down in the larger boxes, go down over here, and then it comes down to where the delivery trucks are. And there's a lot of stuff going on at one time. Have you ever seen a sea of boxes in your life? It's absolutely incredible how this all happens. But the point being is that whether I was at the Amazon hub or the UPS hub, I never seen anything that was so egregious that would hurt somebody beyond the fact that some people are just stupid. Okay. Some people are just stupid. You know it. 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 Some people are just stupid. We see it on the road every day. Driving down the road, we see stupid people who shouldn't have a driver's license. That is my point.
To multiple employees, the man who died working on April 6th was a tote runner, a physically demanding job that involves gathering stacks of yellow plastic bins as tall as a person and loading them on a cart and hauling them up and down the long corridors of the warehouse. One worker told the Western Edge, "It makes me feel more ashamed to work there knowing that people can drop dead, and we have to carry on knowing it doesn't matter to the higher-ups and everyone is replaceable." Now, Amazon did respond to the Western Edge with a statement earlier today. They said, "We're deeply saddened by the passing of a member of our team." Although, again, this happened a week ago and there was nothing in the news about it. We've heard nothing about it. So whether they tried to suppress this or not, I don't know why it's finally coming out today.
Everybody, well, hundreds, thousands of people in the United States die every day, okay? Is the news supposed to be there for every person who dies? If my next door neighbor dies, literally, should we shut the streets down here? Have the news over there going, well, you know, Brian died today. Are you getting what I'm getting at? We don't need to stop the presses for everybody who dies. Somebody died in an Amazon warehouse. They died in an Amazon warehouse. We don't need the news there.
They said, "Our thoughts and deepest sympathies are with the loved ones during this difficult time. We've been in touch with his family and have provided resources to support them. For employees at our PDX 9 facility, we've provided on-site grief counselors and additional support." Apparently there's an Amazon app for employees, and there's a section of it called My Voice where people can leave their feedback. "I was uncontrollably shaking," one person said in the app. "It wasn't until second break that we were finally allowed to stop work and go to the break room. That ain't right." Another said Amazon was given a $16 billion tax cut to invest in AI and robotics so that they can cut 600,000 jobs. Do you think Amazon cares about safety? Yet another employee wrote, "I find myself floored by the lack of humanity." When Sam returned to work the next day, they saw workers gathered around a screen that displays the employee complaints from the My Voice app for everyone to see. "It's so cool in here today," read one comment on the screen. "Did the AC start working before or after we lost an associate? This looks extremely bad." Amazon supervisors responded directly to many of the comments in the app by offering a counseling phone line that workers could call and telling them that they could take unpaid leave off if needed. So when the warehouse did eventually close the afternoon that this man died on site, the managers told employees, "Go ahead and clock out early and you'll be paid for the full day." But according to employees, they have not been paid for a full day's shift yet. They were sent home early because they had been forced to work around their dead coworker on the floor for over an hour. Then they were finally sent home early and told, "Don't worry, we'll pay you for the full day." And then apparently they've not been. Sam, the employee who asked if they could do chest compressions, and a manager said no, said they felt disgusted by the way the man's death was handled, and they are already looking for another job. Between being told we should get back to work while a coworker is getting CPR and being told not to help, I just can't support a corporation like that. We are just numbers.
Yeah, let's regroup here on some facts. Robots and mechanical items in a factory is nothing new. Meaning that, they were given tax breaks for this. Being in a warehouse, whether it be Amazon, FedEx, UPS, is without a doubt a very demanding job. Do you think by them putting robots in to take these jobs over is going to save them any money? No, definitely not. The cost of reconfiguring a warehouse so a robot can work in it efficiently, there's money being spent there. The cost of the robot itself, which is not going to last forever, is a massive cost. The programming, in order for it to do what it's supposed to do, there has to be a team of people who handle that, and that's not cheap. And on top of that, you've got to maintain it, and that is definitely not going to be cheap whatsoever. Is AI going to take away jobs? Absolutely. Am I in support of it? Absolutely not. I think this is another huge mistake that our government is allowing to happen. Much like the petrodollar, which we're now seeing is effing us. 40 trillion in debt and counting. Just real quick here, in the early 1970s, we went to Saudi Arabia, said we're going to be your military and make sure that you're protected, and for that you're going to exchange all oil transactions into money, which allowed the government not to have to be accountable anymore and make sure that for every dollar out there we had a dollar of gold, which allowed this spiral of insane spending. The current Iran war that is going on right now has very little to do with nuclear weapons and has everything to do with the petrodollar. Because Saudi Arabia might be doing everything and selling in the US dollar, the petrodollar, but Iran said, no, we want either rubles or this or that for exchange for our oil. Well, once the United States loses its petrodollar, we're bankrupt. So when Mr. Trump says, well, this short-term pain right now is better for our future, if he was telling the truth, he would say, if we lose the petrodollar, we're bankrupt. A loaf of bread will be $3,000.
And this is why we need the labor movement. This is why we need the power of unions. And this is why Republicans and these big corporations, the Epstein class, are working so hard to erode the power of organized labor in the United States. This is why we need to tax billionaires out of existence. This is why we all should be boycotting Amazon, but even more so, we should be pushing for elected representatives who want real reform. Oregon is incredibly friendly to these giant out-of-state corporations, to the detriment of our neighborhoods, the livability of our neighborhoods, and the quality of life of our workers and residents here. Our elected officials have set policy, created these incentives that benefit big corporations and harm all of us, that allow these corporations to exploit all of us. We live in a system where profit is put above people over and over again, where the Epstein class treats us as cogs in the machine, as conduits through which they can extract profit. I'm so sorry for the death of this worker and the trauma that his co-workers had to experience. But let's be real, this is the greatness that Donald Trump and the Republicans promised all of us. This is what they want for the future of this country. Endless exploitation so the Epstein class can profit.
All right, so once again, you can tell that without a doubt she's, on the Democratic side because everything is the Republicans' fault. And once again, I want to remind you, Republican, Democrat, Independent, they're all a bunch of worthless turds, and they don't care one bit about us. Has nothing to do with that. Fact of the matter is that their bank accounts are lined with lobbyist money. Their reelection funds are by lobbyist money. We mean nothing to them because we're not getting them reelected. We, the American people, are not giving these people millions and billions of dollars to get reelected. And if somebody's going to give you a $3 million or $6 billion to get reelected, who the hell do you think they're going to vote for and make sure that they get what they want? They keep on complaining that, Social Security is going to be insolvent in 2032. Yeah, let's just keep on giving away all these trillions of dollars across seas and all this other stupid crap. Yeah, we are last on the list. And we, the American public, are the ones to blame for this. Period, exclamation mark. If we all stopped today and said we are not paying any more taxes, we're not paying any more income taxes, any more property taxes, any more sales tax, F you until you start taking care of us and listening to us, I can guarantee you real quickly things would change. Let me remind you, George Washington started a war over 3% tax on tea. We are not the same Americans we used to be. We are lazy. We are excuse makers. We are pissers and moaners on social media. They've got us right where they want us. Let's take a look at this here. Amazon worker forced to work around dead co-worker and told to turn around and not look. This we already know. Let's see here. I gotta find that. All right, couple facts to hit down on here. I pulled this up on the computer, so let's take it for what it's worth. In the region that we're talking, Oregon, Washington, California, Amazon pays their warehouse workers approximately 16.75 cents an hour to 21.50 cents an hour, and just recently went up to 23.25 an hour. Basically to work 8-hour days, pick up packages, move them over here. $23 an hour. That this isn't going to make you a millionaire, but it fits the job. Okay, let's be realistic here. It fits the job. Okay, moving boxes, putting boxes in different areas, is nothing, it's not a job that requires a college degree. Any dummy can do this job. Hence, it's not going to pay $50 an hour, okay? Let's see here. Amazon's net income for the fiscal year of 2025 was approximately $77.67 billion. So at the end of the year, their net profit, after they pay all their bills, all their warehouses, all their trucks, all their gas, all their employees, all the benefits, blah, 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 $77.67 billion. So anyways, I thought it was interesting to go look at what a computer would think, okay? Now, I'm not big on this at all, but I thought, why not? So I asked ChatGTP, what is your opinion on the warehouse worker who died this week at the Amazon warehouse? Was it wrong to have employees working while the person laid dead on the floor? Why did management not allow anyone to help? And any other insights that you could add? This is what the computer had to say, okay? It's absolutely tragic when life is lost in such circumstances. The story you're referring to seems to still be a developing story, which it is. But the details are deeply concerning, especially the idea that the employees were allegedly told to keep working while somebody was lying on the floor unresponsive. Now, remember, we're watching social media, okay? So, allegedly falls into play. Anytime you're watching somebody on social media, you're watching a guy like me, like you, like anybody else, and I put some time into actually looking up here of what's going on, but in the end, I'm just a guy telling you what I think, period, exclamation mark. All right, we're reading on here. From an ethical standpoint, the priority in any workplace should always be the health, safety, and dignity of its employees. If this account is accurate, meaning the article is accurate, the fact that the workers were not allowed to assist or even stop their duties to help the colleague, potentially in distress or evenly whether he was already dead, raises serious red flags, which we know is not true. We had somebody that was trying to resuscitate him, and then we had somebody who was trying to shock him to get him back. So it's not like they died on the floor and, everybody was told completely to keep on working. And once again, I want to go back to the stupid factor. There are a lot of people who are stupid. There are a lot of people who, can't handle that type of stress or seeing that type of situation. And basically might be not telling the whole truth and completely the truth of what had happened. So we already know from what the article had said already. The article had said that, he wasn't getting any help and he was laying on the floor dead. Manager came up and said, leave him alone. Well, I do know a lot of stupid managers too, but in the end, the manager has to make a decision, and what does he want? Everybody in the damn warehouse going over and trying to resuscitate a guy whose blood's coming out of his head, who is clearly dead. There ain't nothing you can do for him. Sometimes it's just obvious, okay? Back to this article here that I asked ChatGTP about. This could indicate a failure of both immediate human compassion and broader safety protocols, as well as a lack of proper management training and dealing with emergencies. I'm sure somewhere down along the line, having somebody drop dead in your warehouse is something that might not have come up and might not be in the employee hand guide. It's just kind of got to wing it. The question of why management didn't step in sooner and allow employees to help, which once again that's not true, from a variety of factors, culture of productivity over safety, lack of clear emergency procedures, fear of repercussion, failure of communication, okay. I think out of those 4 reasons, I think we have 2 of the top reasons, okay, because it would be so rare that it would happen. Clear lack of emergency procedures. I guarantee you now that there is, or there will be very soon, of what to do. Fear of getting sued, basically. Right there. We are so happy for everything that happens. And it used to be a lot worse before judges were given the ability to say that no. They still have to have a court date, but the judge is allowed to say, no, this is frivolous. Frivolous lawsuit, no, we will not. And depending on what judge you get now, that's the problem. The law used to be cut and dry. This is the law. Either it's wrong or it's right. Now it's frickin' political. If you're a Democrat, well, your law is different than the Republican. And once again, we're the American public. We're allowing this crap to happen. If you're speeding down the road, I don't see anything that gives you a Democratic or a Republican difference on it. You were breaking the law. It was wrong. You knew it was wrong. We put signs everywhere saying that this is a speed limit. To finish this out, there is also broader implications here. The fact that such an event occurred in a warehouse known for its high-pressure work environment raises questions about how companies like Amazon manage worker health, both physically and mentally. While companies have protocols for employees' health, these protocols aren't always adequately enforced, that's for sure, and communicated, especially in fast-paced environments. In closing, it's heartbreaking that a person could die on the job in such a manner, and it's crucial for organizations to reevaluate their emergency response procedures, the way they prioritize emergency well-being, and their overall company culture, more accountability from companies to ensure their human lives are never treated as expendable, indefinitely needed. This event could potentially lead to a more public scrutiny and calls for better regulations, which might push for tangible changes in workplace safety and how workers are treated in their time of needs. And that's basically what a machine feels or was trained to feel, which actually is pretty good. But I do know there's a lot of companies out there where I live here in the surrounding counties. There is a massive amount of food production companies, pre-boxing companies, okay? Whether it's taking cheese curds and dumping them into a machine and getting them coated and get their special type of seasoning and coating on top of that, and then flash frozen and put in boxes, and then out the door they go. Whether it's companies that, when you TV dinners like that, you get it in a box, pull it out, throw it in the microwave, and a lot of other companies, but either which way, a lot of food processing companies, pizzas, you name it, have a ton of them around this area. Absolutely amazing amount in this area for that. But anyways, the point being is that they've gone through, and every 2 hours you switch to a different station. That does a couple things. Number one, You don't have the boredom factor where, you know, you're working on an assembly line, and you could get hurt from just the boredom factor. I mean, we are where we are. We're humans, okay? We're not machines, and it's actually a job a machine just can't do. But anyways, it keeps you on your toes. You switch to something else. It keeps you fresh. You know, it's a good idea. So there's a lot of companies out there that have figured this out. And it's not like one company that I'm talking about. I know several of the pizza companies. I know some people who work there, and they're always, you know, they're always changing, meaning that, you know, they're moving from the cheese section to the meat section to the crust section, whatever the case may be, throughout their work day. And the places that make the TV dinners, the same thing. The people who are doing cheese products, you know, they're always being moved. Okay, can you do that in a Amazon warehouse? Yeah, I suppose you could, but if you've ever been in an Amazon hub or a UPS hub like I've been, I don't know if you'd increase your safety or not. You know, it's punch in and start running from that moment. It's a very intense, keep your butt moving type of job. Once again, you don't have to be a genius to do it. That's why most of these places, you go and fill out 3 pages online, and then you're basically sent the email, show up on this day. They go through people so fast, and the job requires no brains to do, really. Is what it is. So anyways, that's all I have to add there. Hope you found it interesting. Throw a guy a like, hit a subscribe, you know, jump up and down, do a cartwheel. Either which way, we'll see you on the next one.